is Creepy Story Saturday. I have managed to find another multiple parter on Reddit and it looks pretty good. So the story is called Don't Open the Door and it's written by the user PowderFresh86. So they have loads more stories. I was just having a little look there. They have loads and loads of stories, so if you're looking for something to read, go and check them out. But I'm very excited to get started with this one. So here we go. Friday. How long are you two going to be like this? Daniel asked, looking at his duplicates, his 16-year-old son and 14-year-old daughter, through his rearview mirror. Neither responded as Jeremy had his headset on as he stared out the window at the rocks and trees passing by. His window was slightly cracked, blowing his light brown hair in his face. Daniel turned around briefly to see his blank expression in the reflection of the back window. Jeremy raised his hand to rub his pointed nose and dropped it back in his lap lazily. His light grey eyes caught the light and he closed them. Alexis was Jeremy in female form, but without the chiselled jawline. She stared out her window intently at multiple cars going the opposite way down the mountain. Many had luggage stacked noticeably in their back seats or strapped onto their roofs. A small red-headed boy locked eyes with her, his face pressed to the window as they drove by. "Hey, is anyone listening to me?" Daniel yelled. "I'm listening, Daddy," 4-year-old Alana said cheerfully. "Thank you, sweetheart. I want your brother and sister to listen too," Daniel replied softly. Alana reached round from the third row in her car seat and tugged on Jeremy's hoodie. He turned round, annoyed, snatching off his headset. "Yes, Alana?" he asked, looking at his baby sister. "Daddy wants you to listen," she said, smiling. "Alana, sit back," Jeanette said firmly from the passenger seat. "Thank you, sweetheart," Daniel said, locking eyes with Alana through the rear view mirror. "Yeah?" Jeremy asked with a stiff tone. "I asked, how long are you two going to be like this?" Daniel yelled out to get Alexis's attention as well. It worked as Alexis turned round from the window, frowning. "You already know we don't want this, Dad. What do you expect us to say?" Alexis responded angrily. "Maybe try to be a little positive. That's what we agreed on here," Daniel said. "No, that's what you and Jeanette agreed on," Jeremy responded, rolling his eyes. "The house is really beautiful and modern. The school is excellent too. I don't think you guys will hate it," Jeanette said softly. "No one's talking to you, Jeanette," Jeremy responded harshly. "Hey, what did I tell you about talking to her like that, Daniel yelled, Alana looking dejected in the back. "Whatever," Jeremy responded coldly, slamming his head back into his seat. "No, it's not whatever, Jeremy. I'm sick of your attitude. We are not your little friends, so talk to us with some respect, or you'll be starting your new life here, grounded," Daniel demanded angrily. "Let's all just calm down. We're all tired from the long drive. We're all hungry. Let's stop and get food when we get to town and decompress," Jeanette said, twisting a strand of her afro-textured hair. The car fell silent as they continued to drive up the mountain another 40 minutes before making it to the scenic and charming town of Eastlake. As they drove in, they noticed many residents running about, some holding boxes, others large bags. One middle-aged woman wearing a long skirt snatched her son harshly by the arm as they scurried across the street. Some people looked at them and their van strangely as they drove to Savannah's diner. Upon pulling into the empty car park, they read the door, which had a large white sign on it that read "Closed" in bold red letters. "Dad, what's going on? Why is everyone rushing around? Why is the restaurant closed when it says it's supposed to be open until 10 online? Alexis asked, looking out her window. I don't know, but we'll just get something quick at the store, Daniel said, pulling out of the deserted parking lot. Daniel and Jeanette looked at each other concerned, but remained quiet as they used the car navigation to guide them a few blocks to Edward's grocery store, which was a lot smaller than any grocery store they had been to in the city. Daniel instructed the children to stay in the van while he and Jeanette ran in and grabbed a few things. Their new house already had a few of their kitchen supplies, including some dry goods they had packed from their old house. He and Jeanette had already been up there a few days prior and had unpacked and prepared most rooms. Only a few boxes remained. As they exited the van, a large modern RV pulled in awkwardly. 4 attractive adults exited, 2 young females and 2 young males. They entered the store laughing. Alexis picked up her headset and handed them to Alana and instructed her to put them on. Alana complied as she loved listening to music, especially on her sister's headset. Once Alana was bobbing her little head and singing in her cute small voice, Alexis hit her brother on the arm harshly. Hey, knock it off, she demanded. Knock what off? He asked angrily. Your attitude towards Jeanette. Oh, so you like her now? She's not that bad, you know. It's been 6 years, and she tried to get Dad to tell us. What? I heard them arguing about it. Jeanette told Dad it was wrong for him to take the new job and move us far away from our relatives and friends without speaking to us about it first. Dad said it was for the betterment of the family or some shit like that. They agreed. They argued for like 3 days, Alexis said, sighing. Really? Why didn't you say anything? Like you would actually listen to anyone but Sarah. Also, Jeanette said that Dad should fly Sarah out for your 17th birthday to make up for separating you two. Jeremy looked deflated. His face flushed red as he rubbed his hands through his hair. He breathed in deeply. Fine, I'll apologise, but I don't want a relationship, new family unit bullshit. Dad has been trying to push for 6 years. Daniel and Jeanette walked into the small grocery store, followed by the loud and snickering young adults, who fell silent as they entered the mostly empty store. The shelves were nearly picked clean. A few people ran by holding large boxes. Jeanette looked at Daniel with a concerned look, her brown eyes glistening with worry. Daniel walked with Jeanette to a checkout line where an older gentleman was closing down his drawer. His name tag read Edward. Oh, so you're the Edward, Daniel said jokingly, pointing to the sign on the wall. Yes, who are you? I haven't seen you before, Edward answered nervously. We're the Simon family. We just moved here from out west. Ah, you were supposed to be here a couple of days ago, right? Yes, we had a few delays. May I ask what's going on here? We need a few things. A pretty older woman with silver hair came briskly from the back of the store and whispered something in Edward's ear before looking at Daniel and Jeanette. Edward reached down and lifted up a large box filled with a few canned goods, peanut butter and jam, dry milk and bread. Take this, it's almost sunset. You have just enough time to make it to your home, Edward said. I'm sorry, but what the hell is going on here? Jeanette asked. I'm Mayor Paula. There's been some recent issues. We're on a red alert right now. said in a quivering voice. Come back and pay Monday morning, Edward said, grabbing some keys from beside the register. Daniel quickly grabbed the box as he and Jeanette nervously ran from the store. He shoved the box beside a startled Alana. He and Jeanette jumped in their seats and he took off towards their new home. They remained silent, but the tension in the van was palpable. Dad, what's wrong? Jeremy asked, frowning. Nothing, son, Daniel responded. Jeanette, is everything okay? Alexis asked. Jeanette turned round and gave a weak smile, but remained silent. She rubbed the gold cross necklace that laid on her chest, something she did only when she was nervous. Alexis and Jeremy looked at one another as they passed by a few remaining town people running into their homes. Alexis' heart started beating quickly. She steadied herself by taking deliberate, thoughtful breaths in and out to calm down. It was a technique Jeanette had taught her, Jeremy and Alana. They reached the beautiful two-floor wood and stone house as the sky turned into a brilliant array of pink, deep purple, orange and red. Get out of the car. Grab the box, Jeremy, quickly, Daniel said sternly. Without argument, they exited the van quickly. Jeremy grabbed the large and heavy box that was next to Alana as Jeanette unbuckled her from the other side. Alexis and Daniel grabbed the remaining backpacks and bags. Daniel hurried them up the walkway and hastily pressed in the door code. They all went inside. Daniel closed the door and activated the lock and alarm code. A door camera was already operational. Jeanette ran to the kitchen and checked the locks on the double glass doors leading to the outside decking. The children watched them in nervous silence. I'll read the second part as well. Babe, go upstairs and check that the balcony doors in the master bedroom are locked, Jeanette yelled to Daniel. Daniel sprinted upstairs while Jeanette looked nervously through the glass kitchen doors. After a few minutes, Daniel came back downstairs and confirmed that the doors were closed and locked. They both looked slightly relieved to the children's confusion. Is anyone going to explain what's wrong? Jeremy asked, concerned. Daniel and Jeanette looked at one another. Alexis held Alana's hand. Worry plastered across her face. Daniel shook his head no to Jeanette, who looked annoyed. She cleared her throat and turned to the children. Actually, we're not sure. We were told by the store owner and the town mayor that the town is in some kind of lockdown until Monday morning, she explained. What? Why? Alexis asked. Looking at Jeanette with irritation, Daniel turned to Alexis. We don't know, sweetheart, but I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. We'll just stay put until Monday and find out more then, okay? Nothing to worry about. Is this why everyone was running around earlier? It seems weird, Dad, Jeremy said, frowning. That's enough. We're all in the house safely. Let's just get settled in and worry about everything else later, okay? Daniel said, walking over to grab the food box. Are you saying we can't leave the house until Monday? Like, not even go outside? Alexis asked, looking past Daniel out of a window at the sun setting. Like I said, we'll stay in the house until Monday. We'll find out more then, Daniel reiterated, placing the food box on the kitchen counter. Mama, I'm hungry, Alana announced loudly. She looked a bit dismayed. Okay, baby, I'll fix us all something quick to eat, Jeanette said, walking to the kitchen sink. Whatever. Which room is mine? Jeremy asked, frustrated. Upstairs, last room on the left, Jeanette responded. Thanks. Jeremy grabbed his backpack and sprinted upstairs. The hallway was carpeted with a soft, lush tan carpet. To his immediate left was a long bathroom with a long, faux marble countertop was spacious with its own bathroom. Next to the master bedroom was Alana's bedroom, all decked out in pink and purple. Across from her bedroom was Alexis's sky blue room, and next to hers was his. Jeremy was aware that Jeanette had been in charge of decoration for the new house and was sceptical. Stepping into his own room, he was blown away as it was quite nice. It was much larger than the one he had before and was decorated tastefully in his favourite colours of red and grey. His full-size bed had new sheets in red, grey, blue and white stripes and was pushed up to a red accent wall. The other walls were a light grey colour with his desk and other furniture having red detailing. It was stylish, mature and modern. Jeanette had done a good job. Jeremy felt a bit of sadness in his heart when he looked on a carefully decorated shelf above his desk. A picture of his late mum holding him sat there in a new silver frame. Jeanette had placed it there for him. Jeremy threw his backpack in his deck chair and plopped onto his bed and called Sarah. She answered immediately and cheerfully. They expressed how much they missed one another, and Jeremy explained how he felt guilty towards Jeanette and how things were weird in the town. Alexis hooked up the television under the careful management of Alana, while Jeanette warmed up some cans of beef and vegetable stew she found in the food box. Daniel toasted and buttered some bread. They whispered to one another harshly in the kitchen as Alexis pretended not to hear. Once again, Daniel wanted to keep them in the dark, while Jeanette wanted to be open. The lower floor of the house was an open floor plan with the living room and the kitchen in full view of one another, the only divider being a large glass dining table and kitchen counters that could double as a bar stool area. Alexis succeeded in connecting the television and turned it on. They had cable installed, so she turned to a children's channel for Alana. They both sat on the large sectional sofa, cuddled up together watching cartoons. "Dinner is ready," Jeanette yelled out loudly, pouring soup carefully into bowls. Alana jumped from the sectional happily and skipped to the table. Alexis walked to the bottom of the staircase and yelled up loudly for Jeremy. He came out of his room with his earpiece in, chatting with Sarah. They all sat at the dining table, said a quick prayer and ate with enthusiasm. Jeremy listened to Sarah explain what was going on at school. Jeanette blew on Alana's soup for her so it wouldn't be too hot between eating her own meal, and Daniel talked to Alexis about what extracurricular activities she should choose in the new town. The sun had finally set and the outside lights automatically turned on, illuminating the back deck and front porch. Boom, boom, boom. Help! A loud banging on the door and a desperate cry caused everyone to drop their spoons. Daniel, Jeanette, Jeremy and Alexis jumped from their chairs. Alana looked frightened. "Please help us," the voices of a young man and woman screamed from the front door. Daniel and Jeanette ran to the door and looked at the camera monitor. On the porch stood the 4 young adults that had been at the store earlier. One of the young women, the brunette, looked badly injured. Her body seemed covered in cuts, her clothing nearly ripped off. The rest looked equally dishevelled. "Oh my God, what do we do?" Jeanette asked Daniel. "Well, we have to help them," he said, opening the alarm covering. "Wait, we aren't supposed to open the door for anyone or anything, remember?" Jeanette exclaimed. "Jeanette, you're a nurse. How can you leave them out there injured? One of you call 911, quick," Daniel demanded, disarming the alarm code. Jeanette ran over to the table and lifted a frightened Alana from her chair. Sarah asked what was wrong, as Jeremy explained he would have to call her back. Before he could say goodbye, his phone hung up. The television suddenly displayed static. Alexis attempted to dial 911, but to no avail, as her phone suddenly had no service. Daniel opened the door and a young woman with curly blonde hair ran in crying. She reached out to assist a muscular, dark-haired young man with their injured friend when suddenly a thick vine-like entity appeared out from the darkness. It was mostly transparent, only its outline was visible. It crept swiftly along the ground and let out the sound of many voices. The blonde young woman let out a horrible shriek as the entity grabbed the injured young woman, snatching her violently from their hands. The injured young woman screamed wildly as her friends and Daniel attempted to reach for her. She dug in with her nails into the concrete walkway, ripping some of them off along the way. The entity lifted her up, grabbed her limbs, and ripped her apart. Her blood splattered across the walkway as the many voices shrieked loudly. Jeanette screamed from within the house and covered Alana's face in her chest. Jeremy ran over to Alexis, who was screaming and crying. Daniel, the young blonde woman, the muscular dark-haired young man, and their brown-haired male friend ran into the house screaming. Before Daniel could close the door, the entity reached in, grabbed the muscular young man and violently snatched him into the night. The many voices